Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hey, welcome. Oh, my goodness. I'm excited, y'all. This is our first Fifth Monday episode. Is this our first Fifth Monday?
Yeah,
So
it is.
I think it is. So our first Fifth.
No clue.
So they're like, wait a minute, what is our audience is probably saying? What do they mean by first Fifth Monday? So we try to plan as much as we can for our episodes, and sometimes stuff just happens, life and randomness. So we decided our fifth Monday of the month will be our life and randomness episode. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this, and many thanks to you ladies for coming up with this. So today's episode, on the interest of life and randomness, will be about, are we really still in quarantine? Come on, y'all. With it, y'all. What?
Yeah.
Are we still here?
It would
My
look like
goodness.
that, right? It seems like we are.
Yeah, it seems like we are, with the kids being home from school virtually, or some went back and now they're virtual again. It just seems like a lot, right? I mean, yeah, this is pretty random, because I've seen a lot of stuff on social media where people say, oh, if you were on a job interview and somebody said, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't think it was going to be here. So.
Or let's take it back to the first 2 weeks of quarantine when everything was shut down and the kids were at home and folks were trying to figure out, businesses were trying to figure out how they were going to conduct their working with stations at home with their individual employees and stuff. When you think about back then, which is not that far away, it seemed like, you know what, this is going to be maybe a month, and, life is going to go back normal. I know back then, many families believed that their children will be going to school at this time.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know I did, for sure.
Yeah, they kept delaying it for 2 weeks. I mean, my job said, oh, go home for a couple weeks or a month, and, we'll see you on April 15th, right? And then it just kept getting extended. And then the kids, it kept getting extended. At least here in the DMV, like some of the counties didn't all come out with the same decision. So as far as school goes, it was, oh, okay, one county said, y'all be coming back in 2 weeks. Others said a month. Others were like, nope, we're canceling everything. And here we are. So now it's like month 5, almost month 6 at this point. And yeah, this is super random because
it went fast. That went so fast.
I'm like, is it really almost September?
Yes. It is almost September, ladies. And
that don't make no sense whatsoever. And everybody's like, people talking about, we need a do-over for 2020. I don't need a do-over
no,
for 2020.
I'm good.
I need to move forward.
I gotta move
jump
forward.
on into 2021.
I think that's the thing too, is no matter what's going on around us, we have to learn to adapt.
Oh yeah.
We have to find ways to adapt, and do-overs, nah. That's not a choice.
This is about forward movement. We got to get through this. And I think, part of it is like, did we think it was going to last this long? I mean, what did y'all think?
No, so when the schools let out, I was like, or sent the kids home to work from home, which was a hot freaking mess. I was like, okay. It's really close to the end of the school year, because down here we get out of school like the first week of June in South Carolina. I was like, it's really like close to the end of the school year. It's just gonna be a wrap. But summer today, they'll have a summer. Worst case scenario, by the time school starts back, we'll be back to normal, right?
That's what I thought. I thought by September we would be back to normal. Now I knew, that the vaccine and everything, it wasn't going to really be kind of like readily available for every single person. But I really thought we were going to have a grip on, some type of normalcy, at least for our children. But, given everything that has transpired over the last few months, it became very evident and clear to us that we in this for a minute.
Yeah, for real. For real
life. We were still hanging on. So funny, because we've talked about this before, like how we had planned trips to see each other and be together, like all of us together. We've met in person individually, but not all three of us at the same time. And we had these trips on the calendar. Like, I'm not deleting my calendar. It's right. Stay on here.
Yeah. And now we're talking about when we can do it in 2021. It's going to be a week. We're not going to do a weekend. It's going to be a week. The three of us are going to be together.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I mean, we had our trip planned for May, and then I was supposed to come to Ohio in July, and that just went totally out the window with
Yep.
everything else, and it's just been insane. And
Yeah.
no way did I think it was gonna last this long. When Miles, my son, came home from college in the middle of March, I mean, it was like, wow, this is really happening, and it was
In the
definitely an
middle of an
adjustment.
amazing season.
Yes,
First of all, let's talk about
amazing.
that.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So yeah, I mean, my
Yes.
son's team
Go
is the
Miles.
Division III school outside of Richmond, and man, for basketball, and we had made it to round 2 of the NCAA tournament, and just to have the day before the tournament, I mean, it just to have everything canceled at that moment, it was just like I'm constantly checking on him. Like I was set to go down there and get him, and I think his dad went to go get him, so that was awesome that he did that and brought him back. And I'm like constantly checking just the mental state in that alone, so we could talk
Yes.
totally about that. And then just having my Maddie, y'all know, hey Maddie,
Hey,
she,
Hey, Maddie.
she is my social butterfly. So she just, I mean, it's just that effect. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I told you. I think I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast, but like Sid, the 5-year-old, she finally had like her first virtual call with her teacher and her friends from school, and she was in pre-K, so like this is her first like real school experience, and so they had their virtual call, and like all these little 5-year-olds are trying to talk to each other, and she's trying to, hey Madison, hey. I'm like trying to yell at her little friends and stuff, and
So
they
cute.
finally get off the call, and she was like, I just don't have any friends to talk to. I was like, oh my God.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Yes.
But it's like, yeah. Like even though kids have siblings, it's still not the same. They
Yeah,
be
It's not the
that's
so
true.
same,
over each other.
You're
They want
different
to
with your
quarantine
friends.
themselves away from each other because they get tired of each other. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's
That leads to the next question I wanted to ask you, ladies. Like, because how's your social circle now compared to prior to quarantine? And again, our children. I just feel for them and the youth. I feel for them with the socialization and how we have to do and have to be safe and practice. But has it changed for you? What have you, encountered about yourself when it comes to your social circle right now?
Wow. So that's a great question. I mean, I think for me, my social circle has increased, especially with you ladies. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
the Heart of Chat was born during quarantine. And we talk every day since we were at home, sort of finding, new connections and being more creative with those connections. And look, we've created a whole podcast, and just something beautiful, came out of it. And just socializing with other friends, that all the ripping and running I used to do with the kids and being up and down the road to Virginia for Miles's games and such, wasn't home a lot. So now that I'm home, I'm able to maybe FaceTime a little more, maybe text a little more,
Yeah.
maybe those connections. So, but I was always kind of like that anyway, that sort of person that wanted to do that outreach. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm the social butterfly. Oh, but then the other part of me was like, oh, this is killing me because I can't hug somebody, being that sort of extroverted person. So it was sort of twofold for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really
I
was.
agree. So yeah, of course, like what our relationship has grown a lot since quarantine, and then like you said, other people, more connections like virtually. I think connecting with certain family members more, and just
Yes, that's
and
great.
I think that's been really good.
Mhm.
Because people are just busy and going. Especially like we have 2 daughters that are 23 and live in different states than us, and you know how it is. You be trying, like, I don't never talk to her. And now, like, my husband talks to my stepdaughter every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? When before it was like, I ain't heard from her. My babe, she's working, she's in school. Like, she'd be all right. Like, let her live her life. But now, they talk every day. So I think it's kind of helped some of those types of relationships. I'm blessed and lucky that, my marriage is good. So like being home with him is like, oh my God, I don't want to
Right.
be
Exactly. It's
But I've
like,
heard some
wow.
of those stories too, let me tell you.
Oh, yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, lots
But
of.
I think it's just a appreciation for people in your life, and then you realize how much stuff you took for granted from people.
Yes.
So even like at my my part-time job where I work for a nonprofit, we used to have this thing every Wednesday called Waffle Wednesday. And it would just be like in the morning, and everybody that worked in the office would just hang out, and one of the girls would make waffles, and they would have all the toppings. And we would just like, chat. And
You love waffles.
You do.
I must say,
that was them. They set up the Waffle Wednesday, but I like waffles.
You love waffles. I'm going to bust your secret. On Marco Polo, at least every 48 hours, there's a waffle talk about that's what she's having for breakfast.
I got Linda having them too.
Man, yeah, see, that's one of
these are like fresh made, whipped up waffles in the Belgian waffle iron, which I love. Mine.
I need one of those. I want to get one of those.
Mine's broke. I'm so mad. I
oh no, so good. Yeah,
but we took that for granted that we had that time together, and now we're all like we've been. I know my job. Everybody's been working from home since March, and it's just like. When we see each other on like Zoom and stuff, we just be like so excited to see each other. Or like the few times that we've had to like see people in person, it was just like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And then people are leaving and other opportunities, and it's like, dang, like you can't properly tell people goodbye. So like, it's just been like you said, ups and downs. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, definitely. What about for you, Shauna? What about how things been as far as your social circle and such?
Social circle, I would have to agree with you. I feel like it's expanded, especially online. And it's been more positive for me, I feel. I already had a very close-knit relationship with my family. Of course, we don't like how we have to relate to each other right now because it's not normal for us. And I'm a big time hugger. I love to hug. I love to hug. As soon as I see anyone, especially children, I love to hug. So that part was the hardest thing for me is like, hug, oh, stand back. Hug, oh, stand back. I had to mentally keep telling myself, like, you can't, no, And that part is hard. I'm very close to my son, and not seeing him on a regular is weird. My sister, my nieces. I'm just so grateful for the online connection. I'm grateful for technology, to have that opportunity. So I would say that it has expanded because of the technological piece to it. And so I'm really grateful that we have this as a fallback.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
Even the handshake, like when like I have to do like photo shoots and stuff, and you're meeting people for the first time. It's like, oh hi, and it's like, oh, and then you're snatching your handbag. It's like, I'm sorry.
It seems so rude.
It is. It does.
But now it's just like you meet people like, oh hi, you just throw a hand up and wave. And I know people have said that they feel like this is going to change the way we socialize with people forever.
I agree. We're in a new norm. We are in the season of new normalities, and we have to adapt. And there's things that I'm giving up. There's things that I reevaluated during this time that I'm like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that anymore. One of the things that I decided on is cruising. So I'm a big time cruiser. I've been on 15. Wow. And great, love them. Never had an issue, no problems. When my cruise got canceled, we were in the first wave. Our cruise was scheduled the first week when they shut it down. And so they were like, yeah, we're not, the cruises are shut down. So we were in that first wave, and this cruise was going to be like, we had like 20 people going on this one. It was so exciting. We were going to celebrate, my husband's birthday. He selected this cruise 2 years ago for his birthday and all of those things. And when that happened and I had a chance to sit back and evaluate and think, you know what, there were so many people that really went through a lot being stuck on those cruises during this time. And I was very happy that I could say out of 15, like we've had 0 issues. And so I decided to keep all my cruising memories with my husband, my late husband. That way they'll stay intact and I'll still travel. I might just get on a yacht instead, with my family, and do
Yeah.
like an all inclusive or something like that. So we're thinking of just reinventing the way we do things moving forward with travel with my family. So that's something I've been considering. And the libraries, I'm not sure if I need to really go back to the library. I kind of like the audio book world right now, and you can get books from the library, and on your devices. So yeah, there's some things that I'm like, you know what, that was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, and that kind of brings us to the point about spending habits. Like, what has changed for you as far as that goes? Being home, gas money, driving to work, right? So that's money back in the pocket. Lunch every day. I mean, I would say there's a wonderful Chick-fil-A near my job. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. And I would be there every morning at like 6:50 a.m. pulling in the drive-through, getting my lunch and maybe a coffee and something else, and that would be it. So not driving to work these past 5 months, I mean, I've been able to save that money. But then there's the other piece. Everybody's home, so you're spending on groceries.
Yeah.
So that is the other piece of that.
That's true.
Yeah, I think for us here, so because there's so many of us in the house, so spending habits in the beginning changed drastically for us. Like we were cooking so much more at the house because it was sports, school, work, and like we were just constantly running. So picking up something over here, or you got a couple of the kids with you, I got a couple with me, just grab something. I will grab something, because we weren't getting home until late a lot of the time. So then during this time, it was like, oh, we gotta cook.
Yeah.
So I did notice that we saved so much more money. Like it was just really crazy, in a good way, how much money we saved. And then once we did dabble out and venture out to like ordering some stuff here and there, it was just like, it just wasn't the same. I was like, I could just eat at home.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. And for me, I was like, why was I eating this in the first place? There were some things that didn't taste well that I know taste the way it was supposed to taste because they make it the same way. But eating more at home was like, it was a lot of new revelations that came out of this. For everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, especially the eating part and the going out, because I think I've been out maybe 5 times since March, and even still getting my—
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Linda has been out the least from the Heart of Chat.
I'm telling you, I haven't been anywhere, and we did venture out. So I went out with my mom the other day, and I had Maddie with me, and it just wasn't the same. Going out, I went to one of the local malls here, and the stores were boarded up. The service wasn't that great. That was so creepy to see. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking in my mind, I know I've been in the house for like 5 months, but I kind of want to go back home, So I couldn't get back home fast enough. I'm being real. So, I mean, we couldn't sit down. The food court in the mall was open. So we grabbed some food, and they had all of the tables boarded off. You couldn't sit down and eat. They were like, oh, you have to take your food outside. By the time we got to the car, the food was kind of cold. So it was just like, you know what? I could have been at home,
Right.
And, so that part, helping my mom was great. Got to help her with a few things, but then just getting stuff, we just couldn't enjoy the amenities of being out. So I said, shoot, I'll go home, set up my laptop, talk to the ladies, try to figure out this light thing with this daggone YouTube light thing. So, just stuff like that, trying to play. I was like, oh, I'm having more fun.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's, I think that has changed for me a lot.
And I think that's the thing, like it kind of, like, it forces into like, so like I used to love to like just walk in Target and walk around for no reason. I had no idea what I wanted, just going there, roaming around, and then when this happened, it was like, all right, get in, get what I need, and get out. And then it was like, I'm just gonna put me an order in first thing in the morning and go to the drive up pickup and have them put my stuff in my trunk and drive off. And so like, have y'all started using any of those like Instacarts, Uber Eats?
Yes, so y'all are laughing.
I already know the answer, y'all.
I know. Y'all already know the answer from me. Yes. Day one, I was not playing. I've been using Instacart since day one. I can count on one hand how many times I've been to the grocery store since all this started. 4
5
times.
times.
People think I'm crazy, but I'm like, nope, they started adding more stuff to the Instacart. I guess your view or whatever, the stores you can pick from. And as they added, I was trying them all. Like, and that part has been awesome. That's one of the reasons why going out to the mall and seeing these stores close, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just get that online. It'll be at my house when I get home. So I think I've become kind of like spoiled in that sense, but still using sound judgment, not just going crazy money-wise. But I have used, okay, if y'all ask me, I probably use all of the online services. So for our listeners, if you want to know some of my picks, hit us up in the comments. I got you.
This is not sponsored, so I don't know if I want to shout everybody out. But
I don't shout everybody out. So just hit us up. Yeah. So I'm like, I can
Shauna,
help.
what was your experience with that? Like, because so like for me and Linda, like I know Linda can send someone to the store for her. I can send someone to the store for me. But it's you, so like I know we'll probably touch on that later. But how was that for you, like going to the store versus like your first experience ordering online delivery?
So I have a unique story to that. So last year, you know what our listeners, you know that I've been through with my leg and losing my husband unexpectedly. So I had the pleasure of those 5 months of doing curb pickup because we recognized early on that I needed the team that was helping me out, my son and my nieces. We needed more help in the house versus them running around. So we took a chance at doing at least, you know, online shopping, and they would go pick it up. I got hooked. And all of 2019, the rest of 2019, that's the way my life was. It was order and pick up. So when this happened, what was new and what was different for me was Linda introduced to me the Instacart world. And I was like, oh, there are some days I don't need to go in the car and even go to the pickup line. They could just bring it to me. This is so cool. So I've been out maybe 5 times to the grocery store this whole entire time. I tried not to, you know, do that, you know, if I could pick it up. So I really like this world, and I believe moving forward, I'm either going to do curbside or I'm going to have them bring it to me. I wasn't that girl that went down every aisle. I didn't have that kind of time. That was not enjoyable for me. I know Target is hard, especially their dollar section. They got a little cute.
Oh, the red dot section.
Now that one, you should see my eyes. I'll go like,
you have to go there first. It's like, you know what they're doing. It's strategically placed when you walk in.
That one, I would go through and scan just because there's some really, you know, great finds, and it's easy and it's fast. But I was always the type to want to run in and run out anyway. So moving into this space is kind of like a natural, like, yes, finally, this is good. I like this. I'm comfortable with it. You know, I'm comfortable.
I remember like when you got your first Instacart, you was like, they came quick. They said 2
Yes,
hours.
I remember that.
I didn't expect that.
I'm sitting back. I was like, yep. I'm sitting back like this, drinking my cup. I'm like, you're gonna love it.
I think Linda got an Instacart order now as we speak.
Linda be having a plan.
It's in the cart. It's all I just gotta hit.
Be adding stuff all week.
Yes.
So Linda, do you do like multiple stores at one time, or you do just one store?
I do one store at a time. Now my mom is a pro. She says, "Oh, I have 2 stores." I was like, "Oh, excuse me, mom." Okay, but I do one store. Person
pick up from both stores for you, or is it different?
It depends. It depends on if the stores are close in proximity. The one time I did do the 2 at once, I got confused and thought it was one delivery. I was like, nope. So I just do one at a time. And sometimes I do them on different days. Like my mom, she'll do it all in the same day from like 2 different stores. And that's an option as well on some of the apps that they have that do this stuff. And I'll do one store one day, maybe one store the next day, because they have, you know, different stuff you can get from your local grocers, or you can get from some of the bigger bulk item stores, which is kind of cool too.
I think the good thing for us with quarantine here, so like in South Carolina, you know, it's really rural. Like you can't like get a lot of areas did not even offer Instacart because they was like, well, ain't nobody coming out there. But then you figure people were losing their jobs, so then more people was doing these delivery jobs, and then people needed access to stuff. So like it opened up that for us here in the South, where we now had more grocery stores and stuff like that can deliver. And some of these stores they're not. I mean, it probably takes about 20 to 25 minutes to get to whatever I need. So that's certain things. The grocery stores that are like 5 minutes from my house, they not on my thing. It's the one 20 minutes away.
Interesting. That's interesting how they do that.
I'm like, whatever, y'all. As long as y'all bring my stuff, I don't care. But so I think that was kind of good for us here because it opened up that possibility. Because I know when I came to Maryland and I did Uber Eats to my hotel room, I was like, yes.
Yes. Yes.
As soon as I got back home, I was like, oh, no, we don't offer this here. Okay, well.
And you know, ladies, what else that I got myself involved in, which is a beautiful thing, is I order some meals. Meal prepping is becoming really big now where families are ordering from personal chefs. So we have a personal vegan chef, which you ladies know, which is Patrice. And her business is called Damn Good Vegan. And I get to order as many meals as I like per week. So what I started doing was adjusting my grocery what's the word? Budget. You know how you allocate a certain amount for your groceries. So I just adjusted so I get like 5 to 7, meal plans per week to add to my already existing order that I'm ordering at the grocery store. And now I'm getting healthy, nutritious foods on wheels that all I have to do is pop in the microwave. So that's been a growing business right now too, and a different change for a lot of families.
Yeah, and that's been good for like some entrepreneurs, like where it really has allowed them to pivot their business to offer services that they didn't think they could. A lot of restaurants that weren't doing delivery are doing delivery or curbside pickup, and a lot of them aren't going back like to some of the dine-in options. They're just going to continue to do like the delivery.
That's true.
And stuff like that. It's unfortunate because a lot of people have lost their jobs from these places, but they're able to cut like their overhead. And I get it. Like you have to take, what's the risk? Like, am I going to be able to keep my business open if I cut overhead, or am I going to go under? And a lot of people have lost businesses. So many businesses closed down. It's crazy.
It's really sad. The amount of people that lost their jobs, and the people that have been affected with, COVID-19 and a lot of loss. We've lost so many people, and a lot of people have experienced a lot of, traumatic experiences with this whole COVID thing. And so I'm constantly thinking about, families here and around the world that are really, really having a hard time during this time. And I just, I'm always thinking about hoping that their lives get better, or there's a better way for them in the future, and that whatever everyone is going through right now, there's going to be, some sort of a rainbow at the end of this.
Yeah. I mean, some things are going to be changed forever. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be just going forward, period. Quarantine, or if at some point in the future we come out of this, it's still going to be that option. It may not be called quarantine, but this is life as we know it at that point. And I think some of these things are going to carry over.
And then last week we talked about resilience, and we spoke a lot about, coming out of resilience after a storm. This is a major storm that we are all experiencing and witnessing together, including our children. And it's just like some kind of way, we all will, we're going to make it through this, and we're going to stand strong, and we're going to figure out a new way of life, and we're going to adapt. And, we just have to keep pouring into ourselves and making sure that our mental stability, like we speak about all the time, that, your mind, body, and soul is in a good space so that you're able to adapt and make the best decisions for you and your family at such an unprecedented time. So,
definitely. And that speaks to the positive changes that could come out of quarantine. I mean, just the things that we've learned, the things that made us grow, the things that brought us together as a people. I definitely think those are like the positive things. Seeing, I was watching the news this morning, like I do every day, and just sort of I'm seeing like we talked about the restaurant industry, how these restaurants are now pulling together to feed people who may not have and who have suffered through this, and just seeing that sort of unity amongst the
Oh,
people.
yeah.
It shows that wow, there is a silver lining in all this in some way, that people are fed, people's children are getting fed, the elderly, the older people, babies. When you think about all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and some of the positivity that has come out of it too. And it's hard to see that sometimes, especially with everything that had been going on. But I think there is a silver lining here in some way.
Yes.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah, we touched on e-learning earlier. So e-learning with the kids. Look, I've had to take a couple of training classes myself. I'm like, oh, sitting here, especially those first few weeks, it was hard. So, working from home, I mean, so school starts soon, or it's probably started for a lot of our
Yes.
kids. Like, how have you, Jeanette, made some changes in that area for your kids at home? What have you done in that space?
So for us, so when this comes out, actually, we will be a week in to
Mhm.
e-learning when this airs. So we had the option, the way they did it here is you could send your kids to school, and they're only starting with like one day in school. But we opted to have all four of the kids do virtual learning for the whole school year,
Mhm.
because it was just such a disruption, and it was just like threw them all off, that I'm not trying to have them go and then something else happens and then
Mhm.
now they're disrupted again. I'd rather them just already be in the flow for the rest of the school year. So yeah, just creating spaces for the kids to you learn, letting them know like, oh, am I going to my new school? Kinda. You'll be online with some kids. You're not physically going to
Right.
school. And they've been really good, really receptive. They're really excited about like just setting up the space and like, having their own space and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of pushback. I know some parents have their kids are like, I want to go to school, and I'm just like, you don't get to make choices. But
I
no,
love
that's bad.
That's not bad.
They have an opinion, and that's valid. But at the end of the day, as a parent,
Yes.
you have to know what's best for your kid. And I'm not saying that not sending your kid is what's best, because I know there's a lot. Like, had this happened when it was just me and my oldest daughter, and I was a single mom, it's been really hard unless my job was allowing me to work from home, because and not
And
everyone
all
is doing
jobs are not, right?
They're
not work
not
from home.
right.
A lot of people are essential workers, and if
Mhm.
you're a sole provider and you have kids, I get why some people still send their kids to daycare and summer camp, but I
Exactly.
was like, I don't have to, so let me lessen the amount of kids that are at the daycare by not sending mine. I don't have to. I'm just sitting at home working,
Right.
but we're at the house, so
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just I didn't have to convince my husband, because he's been like, from the day they said quarantine, he called him, Mom, I need you to make me a mask. Like, it was day one. The kids wasn't allowed to go to the store. They weren't allowed to leave. Like, my girls, they just recently started going once in a blue moon to the store with their dad, but he's like, no, you can't go to the store. And then it's like hand sanitizer in the store. As soon as you leave, come home, wash your hands, change your clothes. Like, go change your clothes and everything. So when we had the option, we had to decide. It was a no-brainer. He was like, no, they staying home. I'm like, okay. So yeah.
That is something. How's it changed for you, Shauna? Because I know you work with a lot of children, and you spoke
Yeah.
earlier about how you love to hug them and see them and embrace them. How is the e-learning, I guess, aspect of e-Danny Link, has that changed for you?
So when this started and families had to go to the e-learning, I decided to create a workshop, children's workshop in the parenting lounge for the parents that were members in my lounge, because I wanted to figure out a way to be able to ease this up for them. So I started doing workshops where it includes a lot of different activities that would actually have the children kind of like unplug from the world, so to speak, and give the parents a chance to kind of breathe, even though the parents are involved with setting up, getting the supplies necessary for the workshop and things of that nature. It just was an outlet, you know? So I felt it was important for me as, you know, a person in the early childhood field, you know, how could I help my parents out? So that was one of the things that I created, and it's still going on. Actually, it doesn't end till, I think this is the last one that we're doing like twice a month. And then come school for September, it will be once a month, kind of like a Saturday outlet for families, for the children. So I was able to provide a space there, and then started the nanny agency, as you know, that I launched. So working on helping families find that in-home help, you know, because there are parents that they may work from home, but they still can't adhere to their children's school life.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
You know,
true.
it sounds easy. Everyone's at home and we're all going to take care of business. Okay. So what do you do with your 5-year-old when they stray away from the laptop, or, you know? So I'm working to help families in that respect, and also putting out as many tools and resources to help them set up their children's home area, and just think about how we learn, like, as people, sitting in front of a screen is not fun all day long.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so one of the ideas that I've given parents is, you know, set up mini stations for them, set up different areas that they can actually get up. You know, they wiggle around, you know, it's really hard for them to sit still. It's hard for us to sit still. And you can apply these same ideas for your own home office. You know, if you have a sofa in your room, I know, Jeanette, sometimes we see you with your laptop on your sofa. Sometimes we see you on your front porch. Sometimes we see you at your desk. You want to do the same things for your children.
Yeah.
You know, bring nature in, bring some plants in their area, or maybe get a fish that they can set on their desk, you know.
mhm,
And I'm hoping that the teachers and administration think about that these children need to have valid breaks throughout the day.
mhm.
And if not, I think parents need to voice that concern for them, because we don't want our kids to just go stir crazy, you
Yeah.
know, just being, you know, it's just so hard for them. So I think that, you know, those are some of the ideas and ways that I was able to help families across the world in such a time such as this. So yes.
Yeah, all excellent points. And Shauna, you recently shared a link, a wonderful link in the parenting lounge. I think it was the link to like 65 different like
Mhm.
setups of configuring your space in
Yes.
your home, you know,
Yes.
no matter what size home, apartment, condo that you have. I thought it was excellent.
Yes.
So I
Thank
like to
Yeah.
you.
share
Thank
that in the show notes. I mean, I
My
think it would be
favorites,
of
your
benefit.
favorite was like the smaller areas.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, my
Yeah.
favorite. So Maddie is going to 7th grade, and she has a dorm style bed that we got for her last year. So she has the little ladder that goes up to the top, and then she has the desk underneath. Because I'm in a townhouse, so you know I'm in between. I'm not an in unit, so it's not the larger units, but we've been able to creatively set up, you know, different things. And Miles is a sophomore in college, so he's in a situation where they're doing a hybrid approach. So he goes back for the first 2 weeks. And then on September 7th, he's actually going back to the school. Don't know if that's going to change, if he's going to be coming back in like 2 weeks after that. But, you know, it's a smaller college, and they've communicated well. So we'll have to see kind of what happens with that. But he has a small desk in his room. And then my mom blessed us with some basement furniture recently. So I've been
Your
able to
mom's the best
reconfigure. I
sometimes.
know. I was like, thanks, Mom. Shout out to my
Yes.
mom. Really appreciate it. So with that, I was able to reconfigure the basement and get myself a desk. So since I work from home, just, you know, I've been working from home since March, and it's been quite interesting because my days are very long, 10 to 12-hour days, lots of back-to-back Zoom meetings and so forth. So I had to have somewhere of space to kind of be stationary. So that's sort of how things have changed for me in the long days. So I like to move around, and I mean, I probably will work back upstairs at some point, but I think, you know, here would be my primary location with the desk, with actually lights so I can actually see what I'm doing. Um, and I did, Shauna, you're right. I love the smaller spaces and layouts in that document that you posted. I thought it was awesome. And just being more creative, like you said. My mom also gave us a patio set. I almost forgot about that.
Yay.
And so we'd be, you know, being able to sit outside maybe a little
Yes.
bit once the weather cools down somewhat, and just sort of being creative in this kind of new norm space that we're in right now.
And may I say, Lynn, I'm glad you said your outdoor area.
Mhm.
It's okay, you know, for your kids to learn outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doesn't classroom is anywhere and
Yeah,
everywhere.
thank
Of course,
you.
they need to be monitored
Mhm.
and make sure everything is well. But you want to make sure you take advantage. If you live in a place like I live, you want to make sure you take advantage and extend those outdoor opportunities
Yeah.
for learning for your children as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're lucky here. We have like a milder weather here. Like it doesn't get like cold until like shoot, almost December. I remember one winter, I was like, I don't even know if I wore a coat this winter. Like I might have had on like a hoodie
Wow.
and a jacket. Like that was it. But yeah, so while you can't, now the summers are horrible, 90 plus
Mhm.
degrees.
Mhm.
Like when it's like a little milder and they like to be outside, yeah, I'm definitely all down for that completely.
You
Yeah.
see, I have a tank top on because I'm
Yeah.
going to drag my tank tops out as
Yeah.
long and far as I could and
So the
clean.
funny part is I have a little long sleeve shirt.
And I
It's
have
cold
my
in the house.
shorts like, ugh.
I
Yeah.
have a long sleeve shirt with fuzzy socks
Oh
because
my goodness.
Got to
I
have the fuzzy
live,
socks.
yeah.
Cool.
I live with a bunch of hot natured people and they do
Mhm.
not like to be hot. And so that air be blowing. And I'm
Wow.
like, y'all freezing me out this house. I can't.
Oh my
All of them,
goodness.
just like they daddy. Um, but yeah, Linda, I wanted to ask you real quick, like, how do you balance it? So, like, for me, as a like working from home with
Mhm.
kids, and you know, Corey here, my job is flexible where I don't have to be tied to my desk, and I can really schedule like when I need to be on the phone. I can tell them, hey, I got these calls. But I know for you, you have
Mhm.
like 8 to 12 meetings a day. Like, how do you manage like that quiet and that like I cannot get up? Like, this is what.
Yeah, it is really hard, especially in the beginning when quarantine started. Like my family did not understand that I had to be tied to my computer,
Isn't
and
it
a
crazy? They
lot of
don't realize that you actually work when
I'm
you go to
actually,
work.
I don't know. It's like, man, do I need to get like a co-working space somewhere or something? I'm just saying, that's the look, y'all. That's still on the table between me and y'all, okay?
Right.
But it is hard. It was hard because I'm actually working. So what I tried to do, and sometimes it works. I would say probably about 50% of the time, maybe. I try to block out my calendar from 12 to 1 for work, but then sometimes something happens and they schedule meetings over top of that time. And trying to be intentional about that because maybe that's the only time that the people who are running the projects are available. Try to do it. It's hard, but when you're tied, to a job, it's just like, so you're just actually trying to do. So I do try to get up and at least maybe walk around a little bit. I try to take a break for lunch. Sometimes, again, I have anywhere between 6 and 9 meetings a day. And really it's just about being as organized as I can. The night before I try to lay my clothes out. I try to I try to eat a good breakfast. Just thanks for the waffles, Jeanette. Trying to do all of that. And yeah, it sometimes they don't like it. They get, they just don't like it. And I have to keep explaining, look guys, mommy's actually working. I'm actually here doing these things, and I just hope at some point in the future that that'll change a little bit for me, just being able to have a little bit more flexibility. And I will say that my job is looking at options for parents. There have been discussions about having meeting blockout times during the day.
Awesome.
So that just came up recently, so I was very
school starting back, I'm sure.
Yeah, with school starting back, and having those conversations at a job is hard because most of us have kids, but everybody doesn't. So having to tell a program manager that, oh, I gotta do this, they may or may not understand. And I'm still getting to know that process, being in my newer position, just how they are going to take all of that.
At least not schedule a call at 8 a.m.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have a lot of early meetings. Sometimes the meetings start at like 5 o'clock. I mean, and it really is tough. So just trying to be as sensitive as I can with them. So one thing I did start doing right when quarantine started, we have, we order out on Thursdays. That's something that we do. So
it's called Uber Eat Thursdays.
Uber Eats Thursdays, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so we do that every Thursday, and they look forward to that. So I say, hey, get me your orders by 3 o'clock. So it's something that's sort of fun for them, to look forward to. And yeah, so I try to do that. And that's one thing I think we've been a stickler ever since this whole thing started, because I just felt like I had to do something, because I actually felt bad, about about working, but I know I need to do that to provide for my family. So I'm
Exactly.
sure a lot of parents out there feel the same, or they have similar experiences, because you do want to show up, whether it be on Zoom or otherwise, that you are working, that you are putting in the effort to make sure you're still being a good staff member, employee, employer in some cases, and that you're doing the work. So.
And I think that's why it's important to have those dedicated spaces like we were talking about for the kids and yourself, so that they can turn it off and know that, okay, I'm done. Leave the door. And then I have to yell at my kids, because sometimes I might be in my office, because it's just kind of also where I hang out too, like to read a book or something, but I'll leave my door wide open. And then they'll come in and speak to me, and then they'll leave and I'll be shut. I'm like, leave my door open. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
But I think that's sweet, because they want to give you your privacy.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, ladies. So what's the one call to action for our listeners? I guess anything with, either dealing with quarantine or maybe taking things a step further. Shauna, what do you have for us today?
So I have, you want to try to schedule mini breaks for yourself. And I know that we're dealing with 101 things. A way to do this is to set a timer, like on your phone, and give yourself, if it's just 2 minutes that you're able to, when it dings, maybe you breathe or you do stretches. So you want to try to give yourself some mini breaks throughout the day, so that you can manage the frustrating parts that comes along with this new norm. And I would encourage you to do the same thing with the children, is to make sure that they're getting their proper breaks. And even if the schools are not on the same wavelength with that, or your job is not, I feel that we have to take those types of things into our own hands. If it means you got to get up a half an hour earlier to pour into yourself before your day, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth keeping your sanity together as we're going through the new norm. So I would say mini breaks, and just schedule them, and set an alarm for them.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. What about you, Jeanette?
So I know we talked a lot about e-learning and tips for, working from home. I feel like what I want to talk to the people about is just taking time to be grateful for the little things, the little moments, and be present. Because it's so easy to just be like, 2020 sucks, quarantine sucks. But I feel like have been a lot of great moments and great things that have come out of it. You see people's love still blossoming, people still getting married, all these things are still happening. And I just feel like I just don't want to leave the year with just a lot of negative feelings. Like, I want to know that there were still great things that happened this year. So I just say, find time to be grateful, write down your gratitude. If it's one thing a day or one thing a week, even if you can do one thing a week, because it's easy to remember the bad stuff. So easy. But then when you start listening at like the good things that's happened, then you're like, oh, you know what, that wasn't bad. Like, so that's my tip. Just be grateful and take time to like intentionally write out like what you're grateful for.
I love that. Definitely being grateful. And for me, I would say just take the time to sort of sit still. That's one of the things. I did a lot of ripping and running, always gone, always out, and being sort of forced to sit down has allowed me to relax. It's like, oh, okay, something's over there, it's not straight. Let it go. It'll be there. Even if you come back later and clean it up, it'll be there. But also, staying true to yourself. And I know I'm a semi-organized person. Sometimes it's organized chaos, but it's still organized. So
I love that term.
I eventually get to it. Yeah, organized chaos, but that's okay. Like, my clothes may not be perfect, but I laid them out the night before. It's not perfect, but okay. Just embracing that and embracing the changes that that go along with that. I think there's something to be said for that. So just being grateful, like Jeanette said, embracing the change, letting go of being rigid, and knowing that it's okay to have organized chaos. So
it's okay.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes, that's one of the lessons that I had to learn. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, it does. And at first it was like a struggle. It doesn't. Oh, it's gotta be that. And now it's like, oh, you're sitting back. The people looking at me on the calls, I'm like, hey, good morning, y'all. Sit back chilling. One day,
happy and smiling.
Yes, happy and smiling. One day, it was this meeting we had. I'll just say this real quick. a meeting we had for work, and it was at 8 o'clock. So I'm literally running to my computer. And this was last week, and I was putting on lipstick on. I said, oh yeah, y'all in my mirror today. And the call was so stiff, and they laughed so hard. I was like, and the one guy, he's a nice guy, but he could be kind of like, he's like, what is she doing? And he just laughed. So that made me feel so
but
good.
They probably needed that. Like,
yeah,
they did.
Listen, I was sitting upstairs eating waffles. Next thing I know, something said ding, and it was 8 o'clock. I said, oh, I'm supposed to be downstairs. So I was like, oh well, I was taking bobby pins out of my hair. I did not stress. And I was putting that lipstick on right there on the call.
It's great, Linda.
That is what I want
that.
to share with you all, and that's what I've learned. So
Excellent.
yes,
excellent.
Thank you. Shauna, you want to tell everybody where to find us, or any final remarks, ladies?
Yes. Any final remarks, Janae?
No, you got this. You got this. I'm happy that this has come out of quarantine at nothing else. The heart of chat, and our relationship as sisters has grown, and I appreciate y'all so much. And I'm just excited. Like, if we can get through this and have so many great things happen, 2021 and beyond is just
we can get through anything.
Right?
It's still a great year. I still say 2020 is still a great year.
Yeah,
it is. We're gonna look back on this, and it's just gonna be incredible what has transpired and changed in the world. So yes, so you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at The Heart of Chat. We hope you join us every week. Oh, we also have Friday Fuego posts on IG, so make sure you're following that, because that's pretty fun. And we're doing random pop-up lives on our IG account, so you may see Linda, you may see Jeanette, you may see myself, and we're not letting each other know when we're doing it. We got to make sure everybody's paying attention.
Right.
So please join us. Please join us next week for another. I was going to say Fuego Friday.
I know, right? In my head, I was like, Fuego Friday, right?
It just rolls off.
It does, right? No, Meatful Monday, y'all. Meatful Monday.
It's Meatful Monday because it's going to be Fuego, baby.
All right.
That's what I was looking for.
Right. Thank you, ladies. This is great.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.